Hey, welcome friends. My name is Jeff Heath. I'm a photographer and filmmaker from Vancouver Island, British Columbia, and today let's edit some photos together. So just yesterday I was driving home and I happened to have my camera with me when there was a bunch of bald eagles flying all around the estuary, and I decided I'm going to get some shots. I'm going to pull over and do some shots of these eagles flying high up in the sky, and I thought today would be a good day to show you my editing process in Lightroom and how I go about editing my photos and taking photos, and again to show you that no matter where you are, the circumstances and situations you are in, if you're in the city or out in the wilderness, you can still get good photos of birds, animals, wildlife. Just you got to get a little creative sometimes. And today we're going to get a little creative because this was more in an urban setting. It was right next to a hotel with some power lines and some buildings around. And you're going to see that in these photos that sometimes you have to get a little creative to make your photos look a little more wild. So let's do that together. Okay, so now we are in Lightroom. And so what we're going to do is I've already culled the few images that I took. There's 11 altogether. We're going to cull these down a little bit further, but I'm going to show you how they look like before and the editing process and my thought process when I edit photos, specifically around wildlife and what's going through my head as I'm doing that. And hopefully you'll learn a few tips and tricks that I use or how I edit my photos that will help you along the way in editing your photos. So first thing to remember is that any photo you see online, I'm going to guess 99.9% of photos that you see online posted by people who are wildlife photographers, wildlife filmmakers, all those kinds of things, birders, are edited to some extent. Whether that's just putting it in Lightroom and adjusting a bit of the contrast or the color, there's always some adjustments being done. So when someone tells you they don't do any editing, they're probably lying. And again, for me, when I do photography of wildlife, a lot of people's goal with wildlife photography is how close can I get or how wild can this thing look? For me, my perspective is I come from shooting people, portraits, photography. I have an art background in regards to painting and drawing and all those kinds of things. My aesthetic whenever I'm editing a photo is artistic. Will someone hang this on their wall who maybe necessarily isn't a wildlife buff, but they love the shot that has to go on their wall? That's my thought process every time I'm editing a photo. Will someone hang this on their wall? Will they look at this as an art piece? So there's a little bit of distinction for me. I'm not sure if there is for you, but that's what I do when I edit a photo. I think, will someone hang this on their wall? Is this an art piece or is it a wildlife piece? There is a distinction and a difference. So depends on your style. I'm doing it for art. Some people do it for the wildlife. And again, there is a difference. Okay, so I've called it down to 5 images here. We'll probably end up with 3 or 4 at the end. So we have this juvenile bald eagle, which was flying above me. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're just going to take a look at which one's sharpest. I didn't have my camera settings dialed in right away. This one is sharp, so we're going to get rid of this one. So all I do is give it a number. So if you have on your keyboard, you have your numbers up top. I give it a rating of 0 or 5. So if a 0, I'm not using it. 5, I will use it. So this one is a 5. This one, that one is workable. And this one is workable too. Which one do I like the most? So when I'm looking at this, my thought process is here, the head, we have no eyes visible, just a corner of the eye visible here. This one, we can see the corner of its eye, which gives it a little bit of flavor to me. So I think out of the 3 of these, I'm going to choose this one here of the eagle flying with its head turned so we can see its eye here a little bit. We're going to adjust that. As you can see, it is a little bit grainy, but that's okay. We're going to work on it. So we're going to get rid of this one. So we're going to press 0. We're going to press 0 on this one. And here we have a juvenile bald eagle sitting on some power lines. And this is what I was talking about when it comes to urban environments. You know, ideally you want an eagle sitting in a tree or on the shore. But again, a lot of times, a lot of us are in urban environments where we don't have the luxury of having crazy forests or seeing these wild animals in wild places, if that makes sense. So I want to show you with this photo here about how I'm going to go about editing it. So again, I have 1, 2, 3 photos. I really love it when this will sound really weird, but eagles and crows and a lot of birds have a membrane that goes over their eyes. It's an eyelid essentially for them. They don't blink like we do. They have an eyelid that cleans off their eyes. I love these shots of the little membrane going across their eyeballs. A lot of people don't like it because they think it looks like a zombie or scary. It's my own personal preference. But again, you're looking at something that someone would hang on their wall. Would people hang a photo of an eagle with a membrane over its eye on their wall? Maybe not. So out of these 3 here, I'm going to choose the one with the coolest catch light in the eagle's eye. So we have this catch light here. I'm not a big fan of his feathers or her feathers. I'm not sure if it's a boy or girl eagle flying off over here. And I also like this one here because it's a full eye shot. We have the beak here. The feathers all look nice. So I think out of these 3, I might do this just for my personal reasons. But for right now, I'm going to get rid of that one. And I'm going to get rid of this one, and we're going to be left with this one here. And then this is the cool shots I liked. There's these 2 shots here of these eagles flying together. And again, just out of these 2, so again, I'm snapping as these birds are flying by. Sometimes you're getting it, sometimes you're not. Out of these 2, we can look here. I am a little bit soft on focus, and my shutter speed is probably slow. I was at 1,000th of a second, so I'm not slow on my shutter, but it's a little soft here. But the reason I like this one more is these clouds in the background add a nice dynamic look to the photo, which we can have fun with as well. So I'm going to choose this one here. So out of these 2, here we go. We got that one. And then finally, one more of the eagle standing on this power line. I like this just because of the clean background. We can have some fun with that and this eagle here. So out of the 11 photos that I initially called from probably 50, we're down to 4 photos, which I will edit in full. So let's start with this eagle one right here. I think this one is going to look cool as a black and white. So the first thing I'm going to do is straighten it out. So what I want is I'm looking for its shoulders right here, its elbows, and the tips of these feathers to kind of be similar right there. And then we are going to put the eagle head and feathers kind of right in the middle here, like so. And now let's see if we can brighten up this eagle a bit here, see what colors we can bring back into this photo. So I'm just adjusting the exposure now up. So we're bringing in some of these colors here. We can bring it some of the highlights here. Bring up some of the shadows because we want some of that color to come out of this eagle. So again, you're just adjusting things slowly, nothing crazy. Adding a little vibrance. We're going to add a little more texture to it. Okay, so this is where we started here on the left. And now on the right, we have our eagle. So we brought out some of these colors here. We're going to crank up some of the saturation. And now let's see if we can warm up this photo. So we have this option. What I'm going to do as well is I'm going to have a quick look at it as a black and white as well. So let's have a quick look at this photo as a black and white. Ooh, we might like this better as a black and white, I think. I think we're going to do this as a black and white. So again, when you're doing your photos, experiment. Look back and forth to see what you want in a photo. But I think I'm going to go with black and white on this one here, folks, because that looks wonderful like that. Yep, I like that. So again, now that we've done adjustments in color, black and white is a different beast. So your tones and your colors will look a little different. Even if you play, now watch, if you play just with the color temperature, see how it changes the photo. So we're going to adjust that as well. Now we're going to kind of start from 0 again. So I'm going to boost up my exposure a little bit again. Bring up those highlights. And some people are not going to like the way you edit your photo. That's totally fine. That's their style and their preference. You edit the photo that makes you happy. We're Bob Rossing it. We're going to have a little happy little eagle here, and it's going to be your little happy little eagle. So make it happy. Yeah, I think black and white was the right choice for this photo. Now I'm just going to clean up this image. I'm going to use the denoiser inside of Lightroom. It comes with its own software inside, so let's have a quick look to see if this makes a difference in regards to our clarity on this photo. Denoise it just a little bit here. So it's going to run through its denoising process. And there we go. I'm going to go back to our rated. So if we zoom in here, we're going to have a little look. Just cleaned up some of these darker areas. I'm pretty happy with that. So we'll get rid of the one we're not using. So here is our before. If we're looking in here, we are seeing all of these highlights come out here. We brought out these colors in the eagle. We see its talons more, its feathers more. And I think black and white was the right choice for this photo. Because this juvenile bald eagle is brown and white and kind of patchy, I think the color doesn't really add a whole lot to it. I think the black and white actually makes it stand out a little. That's my preference, so that's what I'm going with. So there you go. That's the before and after. Let's move on to this eagle here on the power lines. So what are we going to do with this eagle on the power lines? We don't want this eagle on the power lines, if that makes sense. So what we're going to do is, I love the head of this eagle. So we are going to crop this in real tight. So we're going to go vertical on this as well. Crop it in kind of where we want it. And I'm going to do a 5:7 size. And now we're just going to kind of line it up where we want it to go. And that looks pretty good. Let's do a little adjustment on our body position. So you're making a choice here. How close do you want to crop in this eagle? I like negative space, but again, I wonder if we can fill up this whole thing with just the eagle. We're just making little adjustments here to see what kind of suits our palette best. I think I'm going to crop it in nice and close. Give his head a little bit more room. That kind of be the center of it. That looks pretty good. Okay, now we're going to get our base look on here. These are just presets that I have that I use. So this is my base preset here. I'm going to get rid of the grain. So just to show you the difference right there, just made it a little more contrasty, changing the colors a little bit. I think we will warm up this photo a little bit. Yeah, I like the warms, bring out those browns a little bit more, the yellow in the beak here. Obviously, we have a big issue here with this power line. So all I'm going to reach for is the heel brush. And so you can also use the eraser brush. Let's try the eraser brush actually to start. So we're gonna, if you have an Apple mouse, you can just scroll like this. If you have a scroll wheel, it'll make the thing bigger here. So what we're gonna do is select this bit of power line here, and we're going to subtract and remove, and we'll see what the AI does for us. That is pretty darn good. I like the way that looks. All right, so now we got our eagle here. I'm gonna play with the cropping just a little bit more. I think like that. What we're going to do as well is to add a little bit of texture to this. We want to make those eagle feathers a little bit of clarity, not tons. So I just want to show you what the clarity does. So this will soften up the image, but the further you go on the clarity, it almost gives it like an HDR look to it. So just adjusting it a little bit will adjust the sharpness along with the texture. So you don't have to do tons. A little bit goes a long way. Let's add a little bit of vibrance to this to make this pop out a bit. Okay. I'm liking that. We're going to use our denoiser again. See how this looks here. Yeah, so right away we can see right here in our background especially, it's going to denoise this eagle for us, especially in the background. It's going to run through its thing. Here we go. So it's cleaned up our background here. This was the background before. You can see the noise down here. And now it's gotten rid of a lot of that noise for us. It's cleaned things up. And we'll go into our sharpening now. Can sharpen this up a bit. Oh, yeah. There we go. That's what we want. Look at that. So you can see it's a little soft here. As soon as we just kind of punch up the sharpening, everything just kind of pops up nice along with that clarity that we put up top here, along with our texture. So I just bumped up the sharpening, and this photo looks great. The last little touch I want to do to this photo to make it stand out is we are going to go back into our masking here. We're going to use our brush. So we're going to create a new mask. Our brush. So again, the size can do just with your little scroll wheel. And we're going to take this little bit of highlight here on its eye. Maybe just a little bit down here. And we're going to just punch the exposure up a little bit. So there it was before. Now we're going up. A little bit of more gloss in that. And I love this eagle's hairdo because I don't have any hair and I'm a little jealous. All right, so once again, here's our before and after. Okay, and we actually started with that, right? So we had this eagle on top of this power line. We've cropped it in, and now we're from here to nice color, sharpening, eyes, all that stuff, to our final product, which is right here. So that is pretty darn good. I'm pretty happy with that one. That one looks great. So again, if you are in an urban setting, sometimes you can cheat the look of your photo. This eagle was on a telephone wire, right? On a power line, whatever it was. And now it looks like we got this massive close-up. The big thing with wildlife photography, with birding, a lot of these things is you can have a very long lens. I shot this right at 500 mils on my 100 to 500, and I still cropped it in super tight because if I got any closer to this eagle, I was probably maybe 100 yards away from this eagle. It would have flown away. So you're always playing that game of like, how close can I get before disturbing the scene? But also remember, this is a 45 megapixel camera that I'm using. You can crop in really tight to get the photo. If you have a long lens, you're still getting that nice bokeh in the background. You're getting that compression. So it's perfect it's perfectly fine, in my opinion, to crop in. It's actually preferred, especially with the movement in regards to wildlife photography of there's a saying of how wild, not how close. So capturing these wild animals in their environment as best you can without disturbing them. So try to keep the environment as wild as possible without being obtrusive to the wildlife is always the key that you want to have when photographing any type of wildlife. So there's our bald eagle. Our juvenile is probably a 2-year-old eagle. You can see some of the color coming through here. About 3 or 4 is when they start getting their bald head. All right, so there we go. We got our next image here. And our fourth image here is this one of these 2 eagles. We're going to try something a little different on this one. We're just going to go Command U. And what that does is Lightroom does the adjustment for you automatically on its own and decides what it thinks is best for the photo. So right away, the whites have been bumped up. It's bumped up the shadows for us. If we bump up some of the exposure here a little bit, I think we can get some of that. That looks good. I'm not going to do a whole lot to this photo because I actually like it as it is. The only thing I might add to this is, I know you're all going to get upset with this, but we're going to add a vignette to this. Just going over here to my presets here. And yeah, that's what we're going to do. So this is without it. And we're going to add a vignette. Love the blue popping here. Let's work with a little bit of our blues here. Do we want it warmer? How do you guys like? Ooh, that's kind of... I think I like, I don't know. It was getting towards sunset here. I think maybe this is a little dark and moody. Do we like that? think I like the dark and moody a little bit. I think I like that with almost like the sun peeking through. The sun was just behind these trees over here, so it's giving it some nice rim light here on these feathers. I think I'm going to go with the warmer tones on this one. Let's play around with the vibrance a little bit. Saturation. I think I like that. I'm just playing with the whites a little bit to see how much we want to blow out this sky. Yeah, I think Lightroom made a good choice with that. I'm going to bump up the shadows a little bit more to bring out some of this color in the wings. Then I'm going to, there's not a lot of noise there. Let's play with our sharpening just a bit. Okay, we're going to turn down the sharpening a bit because you can see some of these little lines popping in over here that are not natural. So we've gone a little too far with our sharpening, so we're going to bring it down just a bit. There we go. Let's look at the before and after. So this is our before here on the left and our after here on the right. I love this photo. I love the two eagles flying. I love the vignette we did. I know vignettes are like, ooh, that's so 90s, but sometimes it just adds a little bit to your photo with just like the circle and the highlights. And yes, 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 yes. So there we go. Before and after. Great. And finally, we are going to maybe do this one here. I'm not in love with this photo, but let's see what we can do with it. Sometimes after an edit, again, we're going to crop in, I think, tight on this one. Let's see if we can just do just the head on this one. We might have to go into a third program to get this one to go. Start with our crop there. Okay, so here is my decision. Looking at this photo, there is nothing really about this photo that I am in love with. I don't love the background. It's just a plain, simple background. Some people might do this. We could see what this looks like. Go all black on it. Don't love it. Don't love the feathers. I am going to say this photo here, there's not a lot going on. And so the reason I make the decision not to choose this photo is there isn't a lot going on. I don't find this photo very dynamic. My culling process with photos is if it doesn't speak to me right away, I get rid of it. If it doesn't say something to me like, huh, that's interesting, then I don't take the photo. Nothing about this photo is very interesting other than we are close to an eagle after cropping in on this photo, right? So if there were some clouds in the background here that we could use for this photo, I would say maybe if these trees like this one over here had a little bit of bokeh, but it's just a plain blue background with an eagle sitting there. Its look is okay. But I don't like that its feathers are blowing a little bit over here. You'd have to work with that. So again, it's not a great dynamic photo to me. So my decision on this photo is to not do anything of it. So zero that out. So we are left with, after all is said and done, 1, 2, 3 images that we edited from 50. And I'm pretty happy with that. That's a pretty good return on essentially a half-hour stop on my way home from work. I saw these eagles flying and I decided to stop and take a few shots because I had my camera with me. So first thing, always carry your camera with you if you can because you never know when an opportunity is going to arise. Number 2, everyone's editing their photos. Don't be ashamed to edit your photos. Don't think you're cheating by doing it, and think of it as you're creating art. That's what I always think of it. So this is my own artistic style, my own artistic flair. This is how I do my photos. If you don't like it, it's not for you. If you love it, then it's great. So that's the great thing about art. It's subjective. So same with photography. Photography is subjective. Some people will love your photos. Some people will not. And that's up to them and not up to you. Isn't that amazing? Finally, go and realize that when you're taking pictures of wildlife, is have a long lens, and is in many cases, as you can, carry a long lens with you, 100 to 400, 70 to 200 with an extender, 100 to 500 like I had. If you have lots of money, you can go for the f4s, prime 600s. I don't have $17,000, so I don't have that lens. I don't think I need it. So I hope that has been helpful in showing you my editing process. If you liked any of these photos, I'm going to post them up on my website in my print store. If you want to buy one of those prints, that helps support me in doing what I do here on the North Island and traveling around and doing different projects. So if you'd like to purchase one of these prints, and I have lots of more other West Coast prints up on my website, would love for you to check that out. Link is below and in the description as well. Thank you so much for supporting me in the work that I do with these photos and videos that I love to post here on YouTube. And once again, would like to remind you to
subscribe, and I'm gonna make some more videos. And if you don't subscribe, I'm gonna kill you. So I didn't mean to say I'm gonna kill you. I just meant I'm not gonna make any more videos.